Hey, how's it going? I'm going to show you today how to make one of the face masks that are on the Cricut Design Space. I am doing the small, medium, adult mask. And the first thing you're going to want to do is cut your material. You want to put the pretty side face down on your mat and use the pink fabric grip mat if you have it. And you're going to use your rotary blade, and you're going to use the fabric marker. Once your fabric has been cut, you're going to take them and put the pretty sides together. See how the fabric is nice and bright? You're going to put those sides together like that. I'm using, by the way, 100% cotton, quilter's cotton, and I'm using 100% cotton flannel. This is going to be the liner and this is going to be the outside. And you can see the Cricut machine drew this line around here. This is going to be the line that you're going to sew on, and this is letting you know this is number 2 and this is number 1. Number 1 is the outside, number 2 is the liner side. So you're going to want to put the side that there's no marker on together. You want to put those two sides together, okay? Line them up real nice. And then I'm using just a plain old iron. You can also use an easy press or whatever you have. And once you line those up, a little tip also, it's nice to take an iron and press your fabric before you put it on your Cricut machine, because it helps it lay nice and flat. Once you get the pieces on top of each other, just go over, do like a quick little press. And the first step you're going to do is you're going to sew, which I already did. You're going to sew from this line all the way down here. So you're doing the outside curve. Okay, you're going to sew that together. I stopped right at this line, but some other mask I made, I just went all the way to the edge. And I don't see that it doesn't really make a big difference. So go ahead and sew that together. So now the two pieces are connected. Okay, and once you sew those two pieces together, go ahead and press it. Go ahead and do the same thing for this side. You're going to sew from here all the way to here. And then the next thing you're going to want to do is there's a 1/4 inch right here, this 1/4 inch from the edge to this line. You're just going to fold it. Just fold it right on this line right here. You're going to fold that, and then you're going to press it with your iron, which I already did, but I'll just show you what I did. I'm just going to hold that down and press that, and you're going to do that on both sides. So I'm going to flip this over and go ahead and press that side as well. Once you have those nice and pressed, you're going to take this, put that in your machine, and you go ahead and sew from this very top, closest to the edge as possible, all the way down here. Okay? Just to sew that down. Like I said, start from here and go all the way down here, and try to keep it close to this edge right here, if you can. And then once you have that sewn, you're going to go ahead and do the same thing on this side. Go ahead and sew that down. Okay, Now, once you have those sewn down, they're going to look something like this. Okay. See how these are sewn? Sewn down. Okay. Make sure when you do those that you separate this, because you don't want to sew the two pieces together. Separate it and run it through your machine like that. Okay. And then once again, once you have that sewn, just go ahead and take your iron and do a nice little press. I like to do this to keep everything nice and crisp. Makes it easier to sew, makes it more sturdy, makes sure that the fabric isn't bunched up. So just get in the habit of pressing everything after you sew it. Now we're going to take the curved edge here, and because it's curved, when you run this through your machine, the fabric is going to want to bunch up and it's got nowhere to go. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your scissors and you're going to make little snips like this. See that? Little triangle, okay? And you're going to go ahead and do that all along this curved edge. It's going to look like this when you're done. Okay, see that? Just some little triangles I don't have the exact measurements. You can just eye it up. Okay, all along the edge there. And then once again, once you have that done, we're going to press it. I like to press it to the left. I mean, you can press it either side. But what we're going to do is we're going to just press those little tabs that you cut. This is hard for me to do one-handed here. You're just going to go ahead and press those to the side. So these are all going to be pressed to one side. Once you have pressed this over, it'll look something like this. You want to flip it over and do another press on this side using the line where you have sewn as a guide. See how I fold that over? So you don't want to press like this. You want to squeeze this, make sure it's folded over nice, and then press that. You're going to do that for the whole entire curve. Okay? Then you're going to take this and open it up. And you're going to take this to your machine and you're going to sew this down. Okay? You're going to sew that. See if I can do this one-handed here. You're going to take it and just sew from right up here, and you're going to sew like right about here, go all the way down to your line right there. Okay, and it's going to look like this. Here's the liner piece that I already did for you. See that? So now, see how it goes off to the side and it's sewn down. Okay, it looks like this on the other side. So like I said, after you press it, open it up, and you're sewing the inside of you're sewing the inside of the outside. Here's the brightly colored fabric. That's the outside of your mask. So when this is on your face, this is what you're going to see. This is the inside. Okay, where your lines are drawn from the Cricut machine, that's where you're going to sew. You're going to sew this right down the middle. You're going to do that on both sides. Then once again, after you have that sewn down, you're going to go ahead and take your iron and you're going to just press that again. And I like to, I'm just particularly picky, I guess would be the word, but I like to have everything neatly pressed because it really makes it look nice, and it seems to be more sturdy that way. So I'm going to try to do this one-handed, but you can go and do the outside as well as the inside. Okay. And because this is on a curve, that can be kind of tricky to press, but I just do sections. So right here I'll press that section, then I'll move this up and I'll press that section, and then I'll move this up and I'll press that section right there. And that's why the just your traditional hand iron comes in handy, because it's got that nice smaller point at the top to get into those smaller spaces. And you can see I take these two edges and line them up, pull it nice and tight, and I'm just pressing this, making sure everything's lined up nice and straight. Now you're going to take your outside fabric and you're going to lay it down pretty side up. Pretty side is the bright colored side, the side that when someone is wearing this, this is what you're going to see. Okay, this is the inside of the outer side. So pretty side up, and then you're going to take your liner and do pretty side down. Okay. So we can see the lines that the Cricut machine drew on. Okay. Pretty side up, pretty side down. And you're going to match this up. You're going to match the top up, and you're going to match the bottom up. And you're going to use pins and pin this together, because we're going to end up sewing this. And the pins will hold the two pieces of fabric together so that we can run it through the machine and sew it. To help you line these pieces up, you can use the line that the Cricut machine drew on. Put this edge right up to that mark, and you can also use these center points, match up the center points. Okay, and you're going to line that fabric up and use pins or whatever you have to keep these two pieces of fabric together. And you're going to do the same thing here at the bottom. And once you have your two pieces of fabric pinned together, you're going to go ahead and take this to your machine, and you're going to sew starting right here. I'll get something to point it out here. You're going to start right here. And you're going to sew all the way along this line up here. When you get up to this center point, the fabric is going to be very thick, so make sure you hold on to your fabric and kind of pull it through the machine. That helps go over that thick fabric and then you're just going to follow this line all the way to the end right here. So you're just going to stop right there, okay? And then you're going to do the same thing on this side. You're going to start right here where your liner starts, and you're going to go over here, and you're going to end right there. Once you have this all sewn together, it's going to look like this. I started right here, and I stitched along this line that the Cricut machine drew on. Made a little boo-boo there. Went along here and ended right here. Same thing down here. Started right here, went along the line, and ended right here. Now what we're going to do is you're going to reach in this pocket here, and you're going to pull this out. You're going to pull it inside out. Once this has been turned inside out, it's going to look like this. You're going to want to press the seams. Make sure that this fabric that's inside here is nice and straight. Just reach in there and get it all nice and straight. See how it looks nice and flat? Take your iron, go ahead and press this down. Okay, you're going to want to press, and also this little flap right here, see, you can see the marker from the Cricut machine. You're going to want to get it on that line, so make sure this is folded nice and neat, and press. Okay, press it like that. Press this all along here. Press the whole entire top. And this right here, you're going to want to, you don't want to press it like this or like this. Make sure it's nice and folded on that little line, as nice and straight as possible. Okay, press that. Press all along here. And then come down here and do the same thing. Make sure this is nice and straight. Okay, press it like that. See the seam? Helps to pinch it. Okay. And you're going to press it all along the bottom. Now that you have the edges pressed, it's going to look like this. See how this is folded and pressed? And down here, same thing. This is folded, pressed. Okay. This looks something like that. Now you're going to take this to your machine and you're going to sew. Now you're going to sew this little flap down. You're going to start right here and you're going to sew along the top again, but this time you're going to want to sew, let's see here, see if I can show you with this tool. You're going to want to sew right about in the middle right here. See this little fabric? You want to either sew right towards the edge or in the middle. I personally chose to do right down the middle like that, and like right here like this. Okay. Anyways, you're going to sew along the top, all along here to this very end here. Stop at the very edge. And you're going to do the same thing down here. You're going to sew this starting at this very edge and go all along here to this very edge. When you're done stitching the top and the bottom, it's going to look like this. See how I started at the very edge here and then went across all along the top and ended right here. And the same thing down here. From this end all the way to this end. Okay. So now we are going to turn it around, and you're going to take this corner and you're going to fold it over like this. You're going to match up the very edge of this outside fabric to your inside fabric. So you're just going to fold it and match it like that. Okay? Don't go over the top of it. Just bring it right up to it. Can you see that? Okay? And you're going to take your iron and press once again. Okay? Press. See this nice and pressed? Okay? Right here. This edge is meeting up with this one. It's not overlapping. Okay? And now what we're going to do is take this over to your machine, and you're going to sew as close to this edge basically on top of this red line where you already have sewn before. You're going to sew this down all the way down here. Make sure that you do not sew over this. So if you have to pull this back, that might help. Okay, pull this back and sew from here to here. And what this is going to be a little pocket for where our elastic is going to go in. So this is going to be essentially a tube that the elastic's going to fit in. So this side is folded and this side is going to be stitched down. And then we're going to run our elastic right through there. And that's why it's important that you leave this open, because this is where we're going to put the filter. Okay, so here I have already stitched this from this end to this end. A tip would be try to get as close to the edge as possible, because that makes this little pocket, I would guess you would call it, wider. The wider the better, because then you can fit your safety pin down there when you're threading the elastic through there. So try to get to the edge as close as possible. So see how this is nice and open, and I got my little tube to put my elastic in. That's on both sides. So here's a little trick. Cricut Design Space recommends, I think, 1/4 inch elastic. You could use 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch, but elastic is as obsolete as toilet paper right now. So here's my little tip. You can take some old leggings or stretchy pants that you have and cut the waist, and you can pull out some elastic, and it looks like this. Okay? You can cut it with scissors and it won't fray. That's what I did to get this. See that? I just used scissors and I cut it to be this length. I just carefully try to follow the lines in the elastic so I get them nice and straight. So if you don't have any elastic laying around, go through some old clothes, some old stretchy shorts or some pants, some pajamas. I've heard of people using bra straps. You know, get creative. There's all kinds of things in your house that have elastic in it, and you just probably never really thought about it because you never needed it. So take a look around. So I took my safety pin and put it through the end of the elastic. You're going to use this elastic or the safety pin, and you're going to insert the safety pin into your little pocket right here. Okay, I can't do it one-handed, but you're going to insert the safety pin into that pocket, and then you're going to hold on to the safety pin with this finger. You're holding on to the fabric, but you can feel the safety pin inside. And with your other hand, you're going to keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing, push the safety pin out the other end. And that's what I have here. Okay? So now you're going to go and take this, come around, let me see if you can see this better. So here's the end of my elastic. You're going to take this, and you're going to take the safety pin and put it on this side now. Pull it out, and it's going to come out down here. Here's what the mask looks like once you've run the elastic through. So you start on this end of the pocket, run it through here, bring the elastic back over to this way, put it in this pocket at the top, run it through to the bottom, and it comes out here. Then you're going to want to tie a square knot. Or you could take this to your machine and do a zigzag stitch. And then you want to snip off these extras. And you can also just move this and hide that knot in here if you're worried about looks. I didn't get that far, but there you go, it's all set. This piece of elastic is 20 inches. I would start with 20 inches and, you know, make adjustments, cut it to whatever length fits you the best. You want the mask to be snug on your face. You don't want it putting indents in your face, but you want it definitely to be snug. And I do recommend using the flannel for the back, for the liner. It makes it really sturdy. I've used 2 pieces of t-shirt fabric, and it ended up being really floppy, and it didn't stay up on the face as nice. See, I could set this right here and it'll stay up. I know some people have said that the flannel gets really hot, so I guess you'd have to experiment with different fabrics, but I do like the flannel. So there you go. I am not the world's best seamstress. I maybe use my sewing machine once or a year, maybe once every 2 years. So if I can do this, you can do this too. And I used my Cricut Maker machine to cut out the fabric. And I just wanted to show you something real quick here. When you go onto Design Space and click on projects, it'll pull up some masks. And there actually is quite a few different masks available now. There's 2 other patterns. Tonight was the first time I've noticed that, so they must have done that just recently. If you scroll through the directions, when you click on the project, the directions are down below. At the very end of the instructions, there are some links. Please click on these links and educate yourself on these masks, what they can and cannot do. Okay. And also, there are so many different suggestions out there on the internet on what to use as a filter. This pocket right here, you're going to want to insert a filter. You could wear the mask just like this. That's going to be better than, you know, going out around others without anything on your face, but I definitely recommend putting a filter. Cricut Design Space says they used a coffee filter. I'm going to use a furnace filter, but not all furnace filters are safe. Some of them have fiberglass, so you're going to have to do your research and look online and find out which furnace filter is safe. There's a brand, I believe it's pronounced Filtrete. I could be saying that wrong. Filtrete. They have a filter that filters bacteria, allergens, and viruses. That's what I chose, and I'm going to tear it apart and pull out the fabric, and that's what I'm going to use for my filter. You can also use a HEPA vacuum cleaner bag. It has to have a HEPA rating. But these are just suggestions, and I can't promise you that they're going to actually protect you from the virus. So just go ahead and check out these links and see what they have to say about using these cloth masks. Alright, I hope that my video was helpful. I hope you learned something. I hope that you will give this a try. I don't sew very often. I maybe use my machine once a year, once every 2 years. So if I can do this, you can do this. Alright. Please like my video if you enjoyed watching, and hit the subscribe button and check out my other videos. Thank you for watching. Take care.